The potential for self-induced evolution may lie within Suzumiya Haruhi. She may even hold the ability to control all the data around her. This is why I am here, and that is also why you are here.
My brain is getting so confused, I interrupted. I'll be honest, I don't know what on earth you're talking about.
Please believe me.
Nagato looked at me with a serious expression I'd never seen before.
There is a very limited amount of data that can be conveyed through speech. I am just the terminal interface for the data, living as an organic alien in order to interact with humans. I am unable to convey all the thoughts of the integrated data entity to you, so please understand.
Even if you say that, I still don't get it. I don't understand. Why look to me? Let's say I believe you're an alien created by the whatever you call it entity. But why are you telling me all this?
Because you have been specifically chosen by Suzumiya Haruhi, whether she intends to or not. As an absolute data entity, she can influence the environment around her based on her thoughts alone. There must be some reason why you have been chosen.
No, there isn't.
There is. Perhaps for Suzumiya Haruhi, you play an important pivotal role. The endless possibilities are now in the hands of both you and Suzumiya Haruhi.
Are you serious?
Yes.
For the first time, I carefully studied Nagato Yuki's face. I thought she didn't like talking, but now that she's opened her floodgates and let her words flow, they were all words that I couldn't understand. I always felt that she was weird in some way, but after hearing her speech, I discovered her weirdness was beyond imagination. Integrated data sentient entity? Living humanoid interface? Give me a break! Okay, I think you should say this directly to Haruhi. I bet she'd be overjoyed. To be honest, I'm not that interested in these topics. Sorry about that.
The majority of the integrated data entity speculates that if Suzumiya Haruhi becomes aware of her own powers and existence, an unforeseen crisis might occur. Hence, at this stage, we have opted to continue observing.
But there's a chance I'd tell all this to Haruhi. I really don't get it. Why tell me all this?
Even if you tell her, it's likely she would ignore it.
Yeah, very likely indeed.
I'm not the only alien placed on Earth by the integrated data sentient entity. The entity intends to take a proactive role and observe any changes in the flow of data. For Suzumiya, you're an important person. If there are any signs of a crisis looming, I will look to you first.
Sorry, count me out. Please excuse me. Thanks for the tea, it was nice. Seeing me about to leave, Nagato didn't stop me. She lowered her head and glanced at her teacup, reverting back to her normal expressionless mode. I guess it was my imagination, but for some reason, I actually thought she looked kind of lonely. When my mom asked me where I had been, I gave a brief reply and went straight to my room. Lying on my bed, I began to recall everything Nagato said. If I believed what she said, then that would make Nagato Yuki a being that is not of this world. In other words, an alien. Isn't this exactly the sort of mystical being that Suzumiya Haruhi has been working so hard to look for every day? And all this time, it was all right under our noses. Damn it. I sound like an idiot. My eye caught the thick, hardback novel that was thrown on the corner of my bed. I picked it up with the bookmark and had a glimpse of the cover art before placing it by my pillow. Nagato must have picked up all these weird fantasies reading these science fiction novels all alone in her apartment for so long. She probably never talks to anyone in her class, imprisoning herself inside her own mind. She ought to put down her book, get out and make some friends, and enjoy a wonderful school life. Her lack of expression isn't helping her in getting along with people, and she would look so cute if she would only smile. I think I'll return the book to her tomorrow. Forget it. Since I've borrowed it, I might as well finish it. The following day after school. As I was on duty that day, I arrived at the club room later than usual, and the first thing I saw was Haruhi toying around with Asahina.
Hold still, damn it! Be a good girl and don't move!
No! Help!
Haruhi had nearly stripped a struggling Asahina of her uniform. Asahina screamed when she noticed my arrival. The moment I saw Asahina with only her bra and panties on, I immediately turned around and shut the half-open door. Sorry about that. After waiting outside for 10 minutes, the duet of Asahina's cute moans and Haruhi's ecstatic exclamations came to an end. Haruhi's voice passed through the door.
Alright, you can come in now.
As I re-entered the room, I stopped in astonishment. There, greeting me inside, was the sight of a beautiful maid. Dressed in a maid costume, Asahina sat on a steel chair with tears in her eyes. After sadly looking at me, she lowered her head. A white apron, coupled with a wavy skirt, a blouse, and white stockings only served to make her more adorable. The lacy headband and the large butterfly knot increased her charm. Such an impeccable maid!
Well, isn't she cute?
Haruhi said this as if praising her own handiwork while caressing Asahina's hair.
This costume's great, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
Asahina protested softly, but I pretended I couldn't hear her and turned to Haruhi. Why are you dressing her up as a maid?
Because maid costumes are sexy.
Stop giving such ambiguous answers.
It took me a long time to think of this, you know.
Even if you didn't think at all, it wouldn't make much of a difference.
In a play where the school is the main stage, there's bound to be an adorable character like Mikuru-chan. In other words, the story won't be able to take off without her, you get it? Mikuru-chan is already gentle and cute, but unless you dress such a cute schoolgirl with a great figure and a maid costume, you won't get people's attention. Now everyone's gonna fall in love with her when they see her. With this, we'll be sure of victory.
What is it that you're trying to win anyway? As I was thinking of how to respond, Haruhi took out a digital camera out of nowhere and started taking souvenir shots. Asahina blushed bright red and shook her head violently.
Please stop shooting.
Asahina-senpai, you're wasting your time begging for mercy from Haruhi. She's the type who will carry out what she's thought out no matter what. As expected, Haruhi had Asahina perform all sorts of poses for her photo session.
Now look over here. Lower your chin a bit. Lift up your apron. Yeah, that's a good girl. Smile a bit more.
Haruhi endlessly gave out her orders to Asahina while simultaneously pressing down on the camera shutter. If I had asked her where she got this digital camera from, she'd definitely say she obtained it from somewhere. More like stolen, I guess. In the middle of Haruhi's photo shooting frenzy, Nagito sat in her seat, reading as always. Despite her confusing conversation with me last night, seeing her usual coolness, I breathed a sigh of relief.
Kyo, your turn to shoot.